Everybody loves to travel. Most of us love adventure. My wife and I would talk about traveling.
One day, we both looked at each other and said, let's just do it. We sold our house and liquidated most of our belongings.
We bought a fifth wheel, loaded up the dogs, and hit the road. We invite you to join us on our journey. The Captain and Michelle Road Trip. So the big question on many people's minds, will the Starlink mobile RV be able to get the job done when it comes to your internet access? So some people have more needs than others. Our needs are great in the sense that this is my workspace, this is what I do. I work behind a computer, I do video production and web production, so I need the ability to download and upload things. Plus, we like to stream movies, so we wanted to have a good internet connection. So right now we are using something called Nomad, which is running off the T-Mobile network, and it hasn't been bad, but we've only been a couple places because we're kind of stranded here until we get some things done with the RV. But it still has sufficed. I mean, it's been okay. It's marginal. It's pretty good internet access. It's a little pricey. I think it's $149 a month. But it gets the job done. I've been able to get work and get things done. So I'm anxious to see how this stacks up. So I did a couple speed tests, by the way. I got one test showing 11 megabits down per second and 4 out. And then on another website I'm showing almost 15 down and 4 out. And I think the upload speed is going to be more crucial to me because I do transmit a lot of emails with large files out. So that's going to be important. So I'm anxious to see what happens here with the Starlink. Let's open it up and see what's in the box. I'm going to have to... In RVs, you're always working in a tight space. So let's see what we got here. Like we got kind of a satellite stand right here. All right, so it's not plastic. I mean, I don't think it's steel, but it's definitely more sturdy. And there's little holes in here, so you could like stake it into the ground if you need to. My wife told me I couldn't do it behind the desk because it wasn't looking right. So here we are, moved out in front of the desk. So it looks like this goes in here, so this must be the satellite, obviously, and then a huge long cable, and a plug. This must be the router, or the wireless router, something along those lines. And then this obviously plugs into this. This is the power source for this. And this one plugs into that. So the question is, how do you run the cable inside the RV to get to that? Alright, well, I guess I'm going to have to try to figure out how this cable comes into the RV to get to this. That is not something I anticipated. But nonetheless, it's something that needs to be done, apparently. I'm not sure I'm happy about that, but we'll see. Yesterday we got the Starlink and unboxed it, and I was really surprised about the cable. I thought it was wireless. I was woefully unprepared. So I did some research, looked at some videos, looked at what other people are doing, and people are like pushing the cable in through the side of their slides, because there's a seal when you put your slide out. It seals like this, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna put a. I mean, maybe it works. I don't know, but to me, I was like, I don't want to put a cable through there and break that seal. It seems like if water came leaking down, the cord would just be a bridge to just start running, dripping water into the RV. I could be mistaken. I'm kind of new at this, but it just didn't seem logical to me. So I spent quite a bit of the day yesterday figuring out what to do, and was able to run the cable from the Starlink up into our storage area, and then further from there up into the inside the RV, and brought it out right by the entertainment center. And we had like a jumbled mess by the entertainment center, because when we moved in, we mounted the TV and we just were scrambling to get things put in place. So not a lot of effort was put into organizing all the cables or making it right, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. But it turned out really nice, because I then ran an extension cord from the basement or the storage area up into the entertainment area. We were able to make a nice compact area without any fuss. We hook up our Roku device and different things that we use, and then put the Starlink modem right there. So believe it or not, this is a work of art that not many are going to appreciate, but I appreciate it because I know what it took to do it, and I think my wife kind of digs it, but we'll see. So what we have here is the entertainment center, obviously. Before, I had on this area, and I had a command strip here with a power strip, and I had the TV plugged in. I had the extension cord running this way. I had the HDMI cables coming down because of the Roku and different devices. I had the mesh network set up over here, and it was just it was like a fire hazard. There was all these cables, and I kept looking at it, and I'm like, man, something's got to be done. So I said, I'll wait till I get the Starlink, and then we'll see what happens. So I got the Starlink. Like I said, I ran the cables from underneath, and I was able to put it all down here. And so the only real cable thing I got going on is this right here. I can live with that. We're still, getting it all decorated in here and trying to figure out what's going to go on the shelves. But before, it was just a disaster. So now I'm very excited about it. I'll take you outside and show you how I ran the cable up underneath, and then we'll go from there. And then I'll do regular updates to show you how the Starlink is performing on the road. A lot of people were saying to take the cord and run it in through the side of the slides or the top of the slides. So what I opted to do was use this handy little thing. Not every RV will have something like that, but it's just basically this pops out and you can run cables through there. So I just ran the cable under there, so that way if it is raining or something like that, I can close the door. I don't have to worry about trying to run it in and prop the door open or anything. And I just ran the cable to that side. We'll go look at the other side. I know it's still kind of a mess in here because
Where's the cable?
It's right here. It comes from underneath. And I just ran it over there along this bottom wall. I know it's a mess in here because I had to pull everything out, and I was crawling all on here and trying to get to it. But this RV is kind of cool. It's got these little slides right here where you have a bunch of other items. It's kind of like where all the nuts and bolts of the RV are in a lot of ways. So I was able to run the cable through there to the other side. We'll go to look at the other side. Yeah, so it ran to this side. I'm really excited about what's going on here. I've got all my solar equipment that we're going to talk about here in another video. My EcoFlow Pro and the extra battery and my solar panels and all the stuff to set it up. So that's going to be real fun on the road. I was able to get in there and run the cable up to my wife, and right up into the there was a convenient little hole in the entertainment center. I popped the cable right out, and boom. So now that solves the problem of running the cable, and I'm going to be running the cable along the bottom of the RV all the way to the back and up the ladder once I get the rest of the equipment that I need. But this is where we're at right now.
What about this guy down here?
What?
Let's talk about him.
Yeah, well, this is a very temporary solution. I'm going to be running this cable.
But this is the actual satellite.
This is the actual satellite. I'm going to be running the cable all the way to the back of the RV, up the ladder, and I'll mount it on top of a flagpole so it's high up. So whenever we leave, I just got to disconnect the flagpole, take that off, put it up underneath in the storage area, fold up the flagpole, put it under there. It's probably going to take no more than 10 minutes, I'm sure, maybe even just less than 10 minutes to disconnect and to set up every time we stop. So
Awesome.
This is my makeshift setup. I've got my screwdrivers holding it in because I didn't know what else to do right now. But anyway, that's all going to be corrected here in the next day or so. So I'm pretty excited about that too. So the Starlink has been performing really well. We are definitely seeing speeds that are 10, 15, even 20 times that of the Nomad. No disrespect to the Nomad internet. It's been great. It's been fine. It served its purpose, but the Starlink is definitely pounding it on the statistics. So I want to go to the next thing. I think I've talked about it a little bit before, but the mesh network. And basically a mesh network, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, I just wanted to see the Starlink stuff. I don't need to hear all this technical things. But listen, I don't care if you're traveling in an RV or if you're at home or whatever. You really should have a guest network capability on your network. You do not want people that have been out in their phones, God knows doing what. No disrespect to your friends or whatever, but maybe they got porn or they've downloaded something or they clicked on something on Facebook or whatever and they've got a virus. You don't want, especially in an RV, because you're going to have friends over and they're like, oh, what's your network? And you let them in. You do not want people just hopping on your network with their phones. So regardless of what kind of network you have, you want to secure it. And one real easy way is to just create a guest network. Now, Starlink does not have that capability natively. It's just a router that just spits a blazing signal out. And so the other thing, especially for those people that are traveling in an RV and have the Starlink RV, your RV is akin to wearing a tinfoil hat on your head. You're keeping the rays from getting to your brain, right? Well, your RV is a big tin can, and the only way a signal is getting outside this RV, if you're outside, is through the windows. And you know, there's, depending on where you have your router in your RV, there's a good chance you may be in a certain location, and maybe you want some security cameras, or you want to put something on the outside that is going to require a good signal. You're not going to get it with, I'm not going to say that. You're not going to get it as good as you with just the Starlink router. And there's a couple reasons for that, like we talked about it, the tin can thing, but also the latency issue. Now you're not hardwired with your, you know, you're beaming from a satellite in the sky, which is amazing, and it's high speed, it's fantastic, it's an incredible technology. But as a result, there is something called latency, and that is basically the packet bursts of information that you're going to get from that particular satellite, and then when it hits the router or the dish, and then it travels through the cord to your router and broadcasts out, and then it's bouncing all over the inside of here. So no matter what you're doing, whether you're trying to stream something, or if you're uploading a large video file, or you're surfing the internet, whatever you're doing technology-wise, you are going to lose, you're going to experience slow latency pretty regular with the Starlink. You know, so there's going to be there could be a potential buffering. It's going to be more often than not, so on and so forth. So what a mesh network does is, it's kind of like an access point, but it's better. It builds a web. So I have 3 devices on my mesh network. The one device, you have to get the adapter from Starlink, the Ethernet adapter, and then you just basically plug your Ethernet cable from the Starlink adapter into the first, your actual router for your mesh network. And then that will broadcast a signal out to the other the other access points, if you will, on that network. So I got one in the front, one in the back, and then one in the middle where the Starlink is. And it builds this really neat web, and as it bounces off walls, the network, the actual access points, or the mesh network, figures out what's the best way to get data from this location to that location. So if my wife is watching TV in her room on some kind of a wireless device, it's already figured out, the network's already figured out how to get from point A to point B as fast as possible using this mesh that's covering the whole RV. And then of course it has access to all the windows in the RV to send the signal outside. So that's really the amazing thing about it. Plus, again, you have the ability to set up a guest network on something like that. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, I don't understand that. You're speaking Greek to me. And it doesn't take a lot of tech savviness to put one together. However, if you are one of those people that's intimidated, I guarantee you know a friend that knows how to do this. And it would be well worth seeking them out and helping you do this. I'm not going to go through the process. There's other videos out there that show you how to do it step by step. I'm just going to tell you it's important and it matters. And I'm also going to show you what the signal transmission looks like on the outside of the RV as I walk around with the Starlink, just the Starlink router versus the mesh network. And you'll see, because when you drop off of one of those data points, the other one, the closer one, will pick it up, or whatever data path is out there will find it, and you'll see the signal drop and pick up right away onto the other network. It's really an amazing thing. And then last but not least, the internet can be blamed for many things, and there's a lot of bad things out there, but there's also some pretty amazing stuff. And so I found this video on YouTube. This fella had gotten because I'm like, I don't want to just leave the Starlink on the ground, and I want to hoist it up, and I tried a couple flagpole ideas, and they weren't working, and I was going to zip tie it to the ladder. I'm just trying to figure out how to do this stuff. Well, there's actually devices out there that people have invented that allows you to connect your flagpole to your RV ladder, and it's like you get to hoist up your flag, and it's called Flagpole Buddy, for example. That's one of them. And then I saw some other guy who they figured out, they went to Harbor Freight and they got a 20-foot telescoping flagpole, and then someone got a 3D printer and they created these little pieces that fit in the top of that particular flagpole, and your Starlink just pops right into this, and then this pops right in the top of that flagpole, so it's really secure. It's not flopping around, and I just love that. I love the ingenuity of it. So if you just go to, for example, if you go to Etsy and just type in Starlink in the search, people have come up with all kinds of cool little things for Starlink. But this is pretty ingenious. I already did slide the Starlink dish into this, and it just slips right in. It's amazing. So I'm excited to put this together and put this up. But then what that's going to do, obviously, is get the dish way up there above the RV. There's not going to be as many possibilities of obstruction as there would be otherwise. So the internet, I gotta hand it to you. This one is pretty cool, and it's just stuff you find online. You do a little bit of research and you can find these types of things. So yeah, I'm gonna go hook it all up, show you the signal, how the mesh network helps, and then we'll go from there. We'll just put this Starlink up and see what the final speed's going to be up on the roof. Looking forward to it. And I love this about Starlink. It's just simple. So you got your range, which is what we're going to click on here, and
it's hard to see.
So when you look at the range and you walk around, it shows you how good the signal is. Now this is before the mesh network. Okay, I'm walking out here, and you can kind of see as I walk around the RV, here's the RV. So I'm out here walking around, and it starts showing you if it's a good signal, weak signal. Right now it's saying it's not that great, and then we're heading to poor, right? So if I've got a camera out here, it's not gonna get the with the latency issues and also the poor signal strength. It's just not gonna give me what I really want. So we're gonna try to fix that by putting our mesh network up now that we've got the Ethernet adapter. So yeah, as you walk around, you start to see. I don't know if you can see it with the sun, but let me see if I can under the shade here. You kind of see the pattern that we've built. It's getting a little stronger because I got closer to the RV. Walking around here, and it's now if I start walking out this, now it's really a poor signal. You can see at the top. Look at that. So here we are, not far from the RV, and we're getting a poor signal out here. So hopefully that we'll be able to correct that issue with this mesh network. We'll see.
What's the thing that you said slides where?
The cord slides in.
Okay.
And then this just slides on here like this. Watch. Boom. Snap-o-rama. And put this up. Loop it in there like that. Let's push it up. Drop it in there like that. Tell me that's not amazing. How cool is that? Huh? Off from watching the internet, doing a couple things, this and that, blah, 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 a little bit of handiness.
Bada boom, bada bang.
A couple power tools, and you're in business. And now this thing will definitely be up high enough to get a nice clear view.
With Nomad Internet, we were averaging 12 megabits per second download and 4 megabits per second upload on their T-Mobile 4G network. This could easily change depending on where you are setting up camp. Not bad, not great. Starlink was all over the place with download and upload speeds, but they were always faster, and in general terms, we were seeing average download speeds of 120 megabits per second and uploads of 14 megabits per second. As well, this can change as we travel, but for now, I'll take it. This screenshot shows the Starlink download speed, but also my phone network speeds. As you can see, my phone is having zero problem sending or receiving data on the mesh network. This is a good thing because there's no chance of a data bottleneck. I walked around the RV, 10 feet, 20 feet, 40 feet. I even went across the street, at least 100 feet away. As I walked around, I could see the signal recover each time it moved to another access point to ensure I was getting the best signal wherever I was roaming. In conclusion, the Starlink router will most definitely work consistently better with a mesh network. I've seen other people complain about the Starlink RV online, but I'm convinced that they did not set up a mesh network to help control the flow of data. I personally would not set it up any other way. Hope all of this information has helped. Talk to you soon.